Hey guys, welcome back to Stanny Boy Reviews. I'm your host, Stanley. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out my channel and to talk about your favorite horror films and mine. It is officially December. I know everybody gets really into Halloween. I'm a Christmas guy. Always have been, always will be. Boy of Christmas, love it so much. I'm going to be wearing this silly hat for the rest of the month. I'm going to have Christmas lights twinkling behind me. These don't twinkle. I totally thought they did, but apparently I'm hallucinating. I took a couple of weeks off. I went to Oregon for the Thanksgiving holiday. It's the first time I've done that in years. For the rest of the month, we are only going to be talking about Christmas movies. What better way to kick it off than to talk about the French home invasion Santa Claus slasher-esque thriller Deadly Games, or Dial Code Santa Claus. So go grab your face paint, go grab your silly Santa hats as well, and please, for the love of God, protect your dogs. Have a seat. I'm already seated. Let's talk about Deadly Games. Deadly Games, also known as 3615 Code Père Noël, was released in March of 1989, written and directed by René Manzor. Not a lot is known about the production of this movie, but one thing I can tell you is that after Home Alone was released less than a year later, Manzor threatened the creators of that particular film with a lawsuit that never made it all the way to court, but he threatened them, saying that they stole lots of ideas from this movie and that they ripped off a big chunk of his film. Those claims were made, and now this movie carries that baggage, and a lot of people say that this movie inspired Home Alone, something I don't necessarily get because they are two very different movies. I mean, one has a killer Santa Claus and one doesn't. Anyway, like I said, there's not a lot of production history involving Deadly Games, so let's just unpack this toy bag and get into it. Deadly Games, or Dial Code Santa Claus, is about a super intelligent youngster named Thomas, who basically wants to be Rambo when he grows up. He spends his time wandering around his mega mansion, and I'm telling you, this is a castle, dressed like a baby Stallone, creating computer games and programs, fixing up old cars in his garage, and taking care of his diabetic blind grandfather, while his mother, who is single, works and manages a really popular department store. It's Christmas Eve, and Thomas is questioning Mom and Grandpa about whether or not Santa Claus exists. Thomas has even found a way to communicate with someone who he thinks is Santa Claus on some sort of ancient chat room. And this predator tells him that he's going to stop by later that night and visit him as long as he gives him his address, which Thomas does. And Thomas sets up cameras and surveillance, and he has a plot to basically prove that there is a Santa Claus. What Thomas doesn't know is that this Saint Nick is actually a deranged weirdo that his mother has recently fired from the department store that she runs. And now, Thomas is being chased by a crazed St. Nicholas who is thirsty for his blood and wants to play hide and seek. And now Thomas must protect his giant castle, keep his grandfather safe, and survive the night until his mother gets home. It's really wild. I don't know if we would expect anything less from the French. This was a first time watch for me. I wanted something fresh for the eyes, and I wanted something to put me in the holiday spirit. You can only watch Elf so many times, which I love, but I had never seen Deadly Games, and it did not disappoint. I can see what people mean when they say that there are similarities between this and Home Alone, aside from the fact that, sure, this kid is battling it out with someone who has broken into his house. That's basically it. And also, he's not home alone. He's protecting his grandfather, who is useless, but Grandpa's adorable. We love the grandfather character, and the relationship that this kid has with his grandfather is very cute. But there are booby traps. The way that he is snaking through his house and outwitting the killer Santa Claus. Yeah, sure, it's very Home Alone-esque. So I guess you could say that Home Alone had some sort of inspirations, perhaps. I was not even thinking of Home Alone as I was watching this movie. I think there is just some bitterness involved from the writer-director. That's just a personal opinion. I don't know. This is definitely a horror movie, which Home Alone is not. But maybe Home Alone could be seen as a horror movie to some other people if you look at it through a different lens. I think this movie has a high tension factor. There are some moments where I was kind of doing the type of thing. The director just did not hold back. The child just thrown into the center of danger, even I was kind of surprised. Like, this kid is put through the ringer. And not to say that he can't handle it, because you're under the impression from the very beginning that this kid is strong, he is intelligent, a good dueling partner for the crazed killer that he is matched up against. And it's uncomfortable. The tension doesn't let up. Once this kid is faced with his opponent, it's a little unsettling. But again, it's in true French horror movie fashion. And not even the pets are safe. There is a scene, spoiler alert, where a dog is brutally murdered. I don't think that any horror film should show an animal just being slaughtered. And that's something that could have, for me, happened off screen. I will say, I loved little Elaine Musey, I don't know how to pronounce his name, the kid who played Thomas. He was so good, and he had to have only been 9 or 10 years old. He is this movie. He is Kevin McAllister. If we want to throw some more Home Alone references out there, he is the center of the story. Most of the time, kids get on my nerves, but he was a little gizmo in human form. That's the best thing that I can compare him to. He captured everything emotion-wise, character-wise. He did 150%. He gave his all for this role, and I was there for it. He was endearing. Whenever he cried, it tugged at my heart. I loved him. I want to know what happened to him. Little mullet and all. Just a perfect little kid. And same goes for the guy who played Le Père Noël, Patrick Floresheim. Guys, I wish that there was a book or something that told me how to pronounce all the names. Especially if I'm going to be reviewing foreign films. Meh. Anyway, the guy who played the killer Santa Claus was pretty frightening. This guy gave a really simple performance, especially when he spray painted his beard and his eyebrows and his hair. Like, all bets were off. Like, he started off a little loony, but like, once that happened, he went there. And the music really contributed to the growing insanity. The guy who did the music, I think, might have been little Elaine Musey's dad, the kid who played Thomas. I think they might be related. They have the same last name. Whenever Le Père Noël came on screen, the music went haywire. It had this weird techno, upbeat, manic, chaotic way of thriving against the screen. It was nuts, man. Like I said earlier, as much as I love a Christmas slasher, I love the fun Christmas movies too. So whenever I see a disgruntled evil Santa, it throws me off. This guy really, really threw me off. He was menacing. I think it worked. And speaking of Christmas, this movie screamed it. I loved the setting. I loved the atmosphere. I loved this ball on the end of this. Yes! I love the fact that the production team really took the time to make this look like Christmas. The cinematographer took advantage of the reds and the blues and the greens and the darkness to emulate the Christmas vibe. Like, you don't see that a lot anymore in the newer Christmas horror films that come out. A sight for sore eyes. Man, just what a way to kick off the season. Now, on the downside of things, there were a few moments that I won't give away where I had to suspend my belief a little bit more than I would have liked to. I'm not gonna dog it too much because, again, I had enough fun from beginning to end. It's not every day you get a clever, well-made, well-crafted Santa home invasion thriller where the kid is the hero and you're rooting for him the entire time and you want the kid to live. So on Stanny's Stab-O-Meter, I give this bad boy 3.5 stabs. I would have given it a little bit more, but I'm sorry, I just can't get past the fact that I saw a dog get butchered on screen. I didn't like that. There was a bit of a lag in the third act or so where they could have probably shaved off 10 or 15 minutes and it would have been a little bit tighter. There was a pacing issue. Other than that, it was really good. And I would recommend this to anybody, especially in the holiday season. It's on Shudder. Again, free plug for Shudder. Pay me, Shudder. Let me know what you think. If you've seen Deadly Games, dial code for Santa 3615, Père Noël, whatever the hell this movie's called. Leave a comment. And then I guess watch it back to back with Home Alone and see if you can find any similarities. I'm on social media. Find me. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. And I'm on Twitter. I did that backwards this time. And you guys don't forget to... Did you like that? I will be back next week. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I'll see you soon. Sean, thank you for the shirt.